Have you ever heard of something called a parable? It's a story that teaches an important lesson. Jesus told lots of parables while he was on earth. Today, we're going to look at a parable Jesus told about a sheep. In Matthew 18:10-14, Jesus told this story. There was a man who had some sheep. Not just a few sheep. He had 100 sheep. Now, what would happen if one of these sheep wandered off? Do you think the man would just let it go and forget about it? No, he left the 99 other sheep to go looking for his one missing sheep. He searched high and low, near and far. He looked everywhere for his sheep that went astray. When he finally found it, He rejoiced. He was so excited that he'd found his lost sheep, and he took his sheep and brought it home. So, sheep are fine and all, but why did Jesus tell a story about sheep? What was the point of this parable? Well, at the end of this story, Jesus said, "Even so, it is not the will of your Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish." The Father Jesus is talking about is God. So the man in this parable represents God. But what about the lost sheep? It's you. When Jesus says one of these little ones, he's talking about kids like you. The man in this story went searching for his lost sheep in order to find and save it. But what did God do for you? Isaiah 53:6a says, "All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way." You and I have turned away from God, just like the sheep in the story. We think, say, and do things that break God's law. This is called sin. And like the sheep that was lost and couldn't get back on its own, you and I couldn't get back to God on our own. God is holy and perfect, so our sin separates us from Him. But God doesn't want you to be separated from Him, so He chose to take the punishment for our sin. Jesus came down to earth and lived a perfect life, then allowed Himself to be killed to take the punishment we deserve. But then, 3 days later, He rose again. Because of what He did, you don't have to be separated from God. Romans 10:9 says that if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, you will be saved. God made this way for you to come back to Him. You can learn more about this incredible gift by clicking the link in the description and watching the video called God's Gift. Remember, Jesus said, "Even so, it is not the will of your Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish." So, will you accept His gift and be saved?